my life, which had belonged to me just a few minutes earlier, no longer belonged to me. Now someone else owned it. Someone else could choose whether to keep it or throw it away. Well, I was out having a regular night in Manhattan, and on my way home on the subway, I actually started talking to this girl, and she was lovely, and we both got off at the same stop. And after we left, I said, do you mind just wait a moment while I go in this deli to try to get my favorite chocolate chip cookies? And she didn't mind, but they didn't have them. So she says, well, come walk over towards where I live. Maybe they have them there. So we walked further towards very close to where she lived and found an open supermarket where we bought, I bought the cookies for myself. She preferred a different brand, so she got her own bag of cookies. And then I walked her to her building, said goodnight. She went up the stairs, and I was feeling great. Been a perfectly nice night out in Manhattan. And then I walked down the street towards Fifth Avenue, and as I approached the corner, I felt the tug on my elbow from behind, and an automatic machine gun was sticking in my gut. Two guys were behind me. Move, move, they screamed. They shoved me into the street where there was a brand new black Lexus waiting, and they pushed me there and put me into the back seat of the car, where there was a third man sitting in the front passenger seat, and he put a pistol in my face when I got in the car. Sitting directly in front of me was what immediately emerged as the leader of the gang, and he began to announce their plan. First of all, he told his main henchman sitting to his right to get my wallet, and then he demanded my PIN number for my ATM card. And when they heard that that amount of money was sitting in my savings, they practically bugged out. I mean, their first reaction was, what do you do for a living, Stanley? And sheepishly, I said, well, you really kind of picked up the wrong guy, because I'm an assistant U.S. attorney. They asked me how old I am, 38. You got a wife? No. Or you got kids? No. You got a girlfriend? No. And one of them said, Stanley, what have you been doing, man? You're 38 years old. You got no wife. You got no kids. What the heck's going on? To which I just naturally responded, you should ask my parents. They've been wondering the same thing. And right in the middle of the kidnapping, my kidnappers actually laughed. There was a $1,000 limit on cash machine withdrawals every 24 hours. So they were a bit stymied, and they explained to me that their plan was now to keep me, that they were going to take me to an apartment and hold me overnight. In the morning, they would take me to the bank, and I would withdraw $50,000. If I failed to cooperate, they would kill me. They also said that they would kill my father if I didn't cooperate. And unfortunately, his business card, which had his home address on it, was in my wallet. They said they would break every bone in his body. This was perhaps the worst moment of the entire thing, because you can kill me, you can hurt me, you can do whatever you want to me, but don't do something to someone that I love. You could hear him cocking and uncocking the guns, you know, in order to intimidate me. One of the guys says, have you ever seen one of these things, Stanley? All you got to do is squeeze this trigger, give off, you know, 10 shots, and bam, 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 and your brains will be all over that wall. And there were mattresses on the floor, and they shoved me down on one of the mattresses. And they started asking me questions. Stanley, what would you be doing right now if we hadn't grabbed you on the street? And I said, actually, later on today, my friends would be meeting me because it's my birthday. And they thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. Oh my God, we kidnapped the guy on his birthday. They thought that was hysterical. There was also a discussion between the thugs that had grabbed me on the street about this plan of theirs. They were going to take me to the bank in the morning and withdraw $50,000 at gunpoint and kill me and kill my father if I didn't do it. And they were getting cold feet. They said, look, this isn't really going to work. It's not going to look right. You can't just pull up to a bank like that and take out a huge sum of cash. It's not going to work. In the midst of that conversation, the leader pops his head back in to the room, and he says, what did you say you do for a living again, Stanley? And I said, I'm an assistant U.S. attorney. And he said, oh no, U.S., the FBI is going to be after us. So then they finish their conversation and they come back in and the leader tells me, Stanley, we've changed the plan. I'm going to come back again later on this morning and I'm going to take you back. And then he left. The new plan is to hold me until midnight so that they can get one last hit on my cash machine card. He says he's going to take the girls back out on the street and then he'll come back and let me go. And he starts to leave. But as he's on his way out, you can hear his feet stop. And he turns around and he says, Stanley, let me ask you a question. If you had the chance to put me away for life, would you do it? So I said, look, you've already told me you know where I live. You've told me you know where my father lives. I don't know who you are. I don't know where we are. You haven't hurt me so far, and you say you're going to release me unharmed. I don't think this has to go any further. And he said, well, okay. And he stormed out with the girls. I hear the sound of duct tape being pulled off of a roll. And that was the most frightening moment of my entire life and of this incident, because I was positive that they were going to tape my mouth shut, take me outside, and murder me. But I was mistaken. Someone had broken into the car overnight and smashed the glass. Well, the glass hadn't been fixed yet. It was covered with plastic, and it was flapping and making noise in the wind. So all he was doing was using the duct tape to fix the plastic. Then he opens the door. He tells me to get out beside him. They say, put your hands up in the air and walk. I thought I could hear the gentle sound of the Lexus pulling away, but I had never heard the door shut. So I thought it was very possible that the guy was still behind me with the gun. So finally, with my hands raised, I said, are you there? And I didn't hear any answer. So I ripped the blindfold off. I spun around, and they were gone. And that was the happiest moment of my entire life. An assistant U.S. attorney is trained to gather evidence and link the evidence together. So the whole time I sat there, I was gathering clues, and skilled investigators can use those clues to find people, and that's exactly what happened. at the end of the day, they didn't feel like killing me.